As many of you may know, there's been a surge of people relocating to Armenia. I'm joined today by Luiza Avetisyan, one of the co-founders of Staff.am. We'll be discussing this recent surge and how this job portal is helping people relocate to Armenia and find work in Armenia. So Luiza, thank you very much for your time.
Hi Emilio, thank you for having me.
Can you introduce Staff.am to our watchers? The ones who may not know much about it. In Armenia, most people know about Staff.am. So what exactly is this job portal and what exactly is it trying to achieve?
Okay, so Staff.am is the go-to place for all those who want to find a job in Armenia and or want to hire employees in Armenia. So we're talking about talent in Armenia, but companies are coming from different geographies. What we do is we cover the entire value chain of hiring, both for candidates and for companies. And as publicly available figures and information indicate, such as website visits, social media followers, activity, number of job posts, etc., we're the leading platform in Armenia. We launched the platform a bit more than 5 years ago. We currently work with more than 3,000 companies from Armenia and from other geographies such as United States, Europe, Asia Pacific countries, etc. And our aim from day one was to support the domestic labor market development, to provide quality service and platform for everyone, to educate job seekers and to help them embark on an inspiring career. We're more than just a career platform, career portal. We are very active in terms of corporate sustainability activities. We have our own job market report that we publish on annual basis, and we run a media platform segmented for people to learn more about HR, professional development, and companies in Armenia. So in a nutshell, this is what Staff.am does. I would just add that we're very popular among Armenian diaspora, and this is the first place where they go before they repatriate. So they're finding opportunities, and when they do, and this must make us very happy, they repatriate.
Mm-hmm. So apart from the diasporans, obviously since the Russian invasion of Ukraine, there has been a large influx of Russians, Belarusians, and Ukrainians coming to Armenia, and many of them are looking for work. So in this past month, how has it been like for the Staff.am team? I'm assuming quite intense.
Yeah, it was very intense, and our response was quite immediate. We had some experience prior to this influx, I would say that, because when the situation was not really good in Lebanon, we had influx from that country as well. Of course, back then it was more Armenians wanting to come to Armenia. But in this case, the scale was bigger and it was more intense, and things were getting developed very, very quickly. So what we did, we set up a landing page, put there information that would potentially be interesting for people coming from Russia, and started to collect information about them. So they would fill several fields like their name and which industry they're interested in, and attach their resume. Then we worked with around 20-25 companies which were willing to hire people, non-Armenian speaking people, for example. And till today, we have received around 700 applications. During the first days, the most intense days, for like 3-4 days, we received 300 applications. And the interesting thing was that not all of them were in Armenia. So a lot of them were looking for opportunities before they can come, before they can relocate. And they would write like, if we find a job, then we'll come to Armenia, and we're looking in some other countries as well. And also, as we analyzed the figures and the statistics, almost 80% of them were non-Armenian. So one would think that Armenian origin, people with Armenian origin would want to repatriate or come back, but it wasn't just that case. Russians really were considering and are still considering Armenia as their next destination to settle down, to find a job, and to live temporarily or permanently, that no one knows.
And what sorts of people are coming? Many believe that a lot of the people are coming are young, are educated, specialized, and qualified. So in a sense, that could be good for Armenia's economy. At the same time, some people are worried that a lot of these people coming from Russia, coming, for example, from Moscow's IT sector, are going to outperform the local Armenian population. So has the Staff.am team envisaged this problem? What do you think about the sort of people coming?
Well, if we judge based on the applications that we have received and also the physical meetings and interactions that we have had so far, I would say that the constructive competition has always been good for the economy, for the businesses. So in this case, we are not talking about like Moscow IT people replacing Yerevan IT people. No, it's additional flow of quality candidates that the market really needs. I would bring a couple of examples to support my point of view here. One of our employers for a specific position would have like 5 interviews per year because this position was a hard to find, hard to fill position. Then during the month of March, they held 8 or 9 interviews. And of course, all of those candidates were from the US, from Russia. So in that perspective, there are new workplaces created. Another aspect is that if we speak about IT sector, then we have many international companies here, like they have 100 employees or 200 employees, but they have room to scale if the market allows them to hire more people. So in a way, if we have this influx of quality talent, then new workplaces will be created and Armenian branches of international companies will scale and expand, then taking share from other branches. So in that perspective, when we hear some complaints from domestic talent, if I can put it that way, then they want to be hired for positions that require higher qualifications they do not possess, while maybe Russian specialists do, and they get hired. So in that perspective, I do not see any threat. Rather, it's a good thing to observe. And I really hope that all those high quality talent that are considering to stay in Armenia and have moved will eventually stay here.
I mean, this isn't fully to do with the influx, but also partially to do, I mean, the IT sector, according to many, is one of the biggest hopes of the Armenian economy, and it is growing exponentially, as you previously mentioned. Are other sectors, however, becoming more redundant? I mean, what do you see in the future happening in terms of trends with regard to the different sectors of the Armenian economy?
Well, I often am asked this question because I myself is a founder of a tech company, and I always say that yes, the IT sector is very competitive, and this is not just an Armenian thing. In every country, almost every country, there is a significant flow of career switchers from other industries. Banking, for example, telecommunications, accounting, finance, etc. And this is normal because this industry now, this sector now is developing rapidly and it needs more people. But I do not think that other industries will become redundant. What I think is that a shortfall of workforce will make other businesses to automate more, to introduce more high-tech solutions, for example, to traditional industries like manufacturing, agribusiness, etc. So in that perspective, IT sector is like a locomotive. It is a flagman of development, and we can observe that for the past couple of years, banking industry is changing a lot of their culture and how they treat employees and what is the environment where their people work to be close to IT sector to win employees. So in that perspective, I think that in a short-term perspective, yes, some other industries are having hard time finding talent because people switch there. But on a long-term perspective, it makes other industries to become more competitive, and also it makes talent people, individuals, to work more, to be more competitive as well. I hope I answered the question.
Mm-hmm. And the job market is developing. Also, with regards to this influx, are there more job places than people seeking work, or are there more people seeking work than job places? I mean, do you find that this has shifted in the last month? What can you tell us about that dynamic?
Well, we monitor the dynamics of development, and I can surely say that the first quarter of 2022 is quite active and dynamically growing, and that growth was initiated from the second half of 2021, so it continues. It's a post-COVID surge of jobs that is being observed both in Armenia and countries like us. So in that perspective, yes, the first quarter is very active, and the month of March is really active as well. But I wouldn't say that we have like more than 10 or 15% of growth in jobs advertised or workplaces open. I would just say that the influx of candidates helped companies to close some positions that were open for several months. I can say from our perspective as a tech company, we have interviewed 3 candidates from Russia, and we are now waiting for them to come to Armenia to continue the hiring process. Well, we had these positions vacant from like last year. So to answer the question, yes, it's the last month has been more active, but it's within the scope of post-COVID surge of jobs that have been started like last year.
And finally, I think this is a really interesting question. There have been sightings, and I know individuals as well, people from Russia, Belarus, etc., that are starting to go to other places in Armenia, not just Yerevan, going to Gyumri, to Ashtarak, to Vanadzor. What can you tell us about that? What can you tell us about people finding work or trying to find work in other parts of Armenia? How does Staff.am envisage this?
I would just like to give some short information that only 6% of all jobs advertised on Staff.am in 2021 were in regions, which means that 94% was in Yerevan. This is a really bad figure, and we need to work towards it. But this year we have seen that a shift there. So for the first quarter of 2022, we have around 10% of all jobs being in regions. If we want to understand how people who move to Armenia from Russia, Belarus, and other countries feel about regional cities, I would say that Dilijan and Gyumri and closer cities, like you mentioned, Ashtarak, are more attractive, and both like people go there and stay there, like freelancers who do not require to find a job, or people who have their other income and can just live without working right now. But there is also flow of people who were placed in regional branches, offices of companies that have offices there. For example, a tech company that has now like around 600 employees, they have created new jobs there in their like Gyumri office, and people work there now. But I still think that majority of Russians who came to Armenia. They're in Yerevan because the infrastructure is more developed here, and especially if they're looking for a job, want to rent a place for an office for their business, they stay in Yerevan.
Okay, well, Luiza, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you too.
And thank you for joining us on CivilNet.